and let the wizard of the burrito blanket be revealed to show you the mysteries of the universe. And grammar, yeah! Yeah-wee! Grammar goodies! Thank you so much for coming back into General Grammar. My name is Mr. Goodie Grammar, and I'm here to provide you with all your English grammar needs. Let's get it started! But before we begin, make sure to hit the subscribe button and download the free guided notes in the description box below. The guided notes and episodes have matching badges to indicate each section, so you can follow along with ease. Also, during each episode, underline any text that appears in red or a bold font to identify key words and concepts. It's the shopping list that your mom always forgot to take to the grocery store. Whoa! Honey. Today, we're going to go ahead and build off our product from last time. I'm talking all about complex sentences. Volume 2. I don't know about you, but I want to jump into a basket breaker. Uh-oh. For this week's basket breaker, the question is, what makes up a complex sentence? Think back. Pull from your mind. And if you need to, make sure to go back and rewatch episode 19, Complex Sentences, Volume 1. Okay, here's the answer to the basket breaker. A complex sentence is made up of one independent clause and one or more dependent clauses. Let me go ahead and refresh your brain with this example. Since we are done with the basket breaker, it's time to drink up some radioactive waste. In this example, the dependent clause starts at the very beginning of the sentence. Since we are done with the basket breaker, it starts with that subordinating conjunction, since, all the way to the comma, and followed by the independent clause. It's time to drink up some radioactive waste. That is our first variation of a complex sentence. And today, we're going to go ahead and learn all about flipping our sentence structure to see a different way to make a complex sentence. And I think this example is absolutely perfect because we're about to drink up some radioactive waste.
3, 2, 1.
Whoa! Just to make sure that we truly understand the first variation of a complex sentence, let's go ahead and look at another review example. Example: wherever the king stakes his banner, the people begin to praise him, oh dear king. With the formula of a dependent clause, followed by a comma, followed by an independent clause, we get that first type of complex sentence. Our dependent clause in this example is wherever the king stakes his banner. That's a dependent clause because it starts with the subordinating conjunction wherever and goes all the way to that comma. It's still an incomplete thought, so it depends on the independent clause that follows in order to make sense. That independent clause being, the people begin to praise him. Therefore, we have a complex sentence. It's pretty manageable, right? And today is even simpler. That's right, I'm going to teach you a new arrangement to make a complex sentence. In fact, it might even be as simple as flipping your sentences. Let me show you what I mean. Since we know that a complex sentence is made up of one independent clause and one or more dependent clauses, we can order it in various ways. For this type of structure, what we're going to do today is put our independent clause first and our dependent clause second. In the last episode, we had this sentence. Unless Mario focuses on plumbing rather than defeating Bowser, his business will fail. If we wanted to go ahead and turn that sentence structure into the one that we're doing today, where the independent clause goes first, we can flip it around. We would go ahead and get this sentence. Mario's business will fail unless he focuses on plumbing rather than defeating Bowser. There's money to be made and not in gold coins. This is a complex sentence because it does have an independent clause, Mario's business will fail, followed by this dependent clause, unless Mario focuses on plumbing rather than defeating Bowser. Pretty interesting, right? All we had to do was flip them. Let's go ahead and look at the sentence formula for this arrangement of a complex sentence. Keep in mind, IDC equals independent clause, and DC equals, not the comics company, but dependent clause. This is just to help you out a little bit more when we're going through our formula. So, the formula for this arrangement of a complex sentence is one independent clause plus one or more dependent clauses. You'll notice, though, that there's no comma to separate them, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Example, he could not open the pickle jar even though he was incredibly muscular. In this complex sentence, we start with the independent clause, he could not open the pickle jar, followed by the dependent clause, even though he was incredibly muscular. You'll notice that the independent clause stops where we see a subordinating conjunction, even though. That's how we can tell where we shift from an independent clause into a dependent clause, without using a comma to separate the two. So in the end, we do get a complex sentence. What's even more amazing is that we could go ahead and flip the sentence structure to the first one, and the sentence carries the same meaning. So we could go from, he could not open the pickle jar even though he was incredibly muscular, to, even though he was incredibly muscular, comma, he could not open the pickle jar. It's crazy! And it gives you variety. That way your sentence structures aren't always the same. So I hope you're pulling from your brain, because if you remember, if you start a complex sentence with a dependent clause, you need a comma to separate it from the independent clause. However, if you start a complex sentence with an independent clause, you do not normally put a comma to separate them, because we can usually see where the dependent clause starts, because it usually starts with a subordinating conjunction. Just keep that in mind. That's how this looks a little bit different. If the independent clause comes first, you don't normally use a comma to set it off. Example, I can go camping as long as there are no demonic beasts frolicking through the woods. In this example, we start with the independent clause, I can go camping, complete thought. And we start our dependent clause with the subordinating conjunction as long as, all the way to the period at the end of the sentence. You'll also notice that there's no comma between the independent clause and the dependent clause. So there is no comma between camping and as long as, because the subordinating conjunction as long as indicates that, yo, this is where the dependent clause starts. So we have an independent clause, a dependent clause, and a complex sentence. Example: the gingerbread man's home will be devoured by ravenous children if he relocates to Candyland. Nom 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 nom. Nom. In this example, we have the independent clause, the gingerbread man's home will be devoured by ravenous children. And then we jump into the dependent clause, if he relocates to Candyland. We know that the dependent clause starts with the subordinating conjunction, what do you think? If. So we get the dependent clause, if he relocates to Candyland. So we have an independent, a dependent, and, sadly, a homeless gingerbread man. Build it back up. Since we need to dive into this a little bit more, I think we should ask for some employee assistance.
We need some employee assistance.
For this section, I'm going to read various complex sentences aloud. Together, we're going to break down the different parts that make up the complex sentences. And you'll end up doing 3 things on your notes. But what are these 3 tasks? Great question. The first thing that you're going to do is underline the independent clause in each complex sentence. Then you're going to go ahead and square the dependent clause in each sentence. But that's simple enough, identifying the clauses. You already know this. Just to make sure that we emphasize and challenge you a little bit more, I want you to go ahead and circle the subordinating conjunction in each sentence as well. These are words, again, that usually start dependent clauses. So, you ready to do it? Yeah. Let's go. Example: I thought I was going to get some rest until the lawnmower started outside my window. I just want to sleep. Go ahead and underline the independent clause in this sentence. Then, square the dependent clause on your notes. Then, go ahead and circle the subordinating conjunction. Okay, what did you get? Let's go over the answer. The independent clause in this complex sentence is, I thought I was going to get some rest. Followed by the dependent clause that you should have squared, which is, until the lawnmowers started outside my window. And you would have circled the subordinating conjunction until. And this helps create a complete, complex sentence where the independent clause comes first. Example: my summer romance ended when he ghosted me to go cave diving. Help me. My leg. Again, underline that independent clause. Square, I think this is a square, or a rectangle, that dependent clause, and circle the subordinating conjunction. Answer time. If you underlined, my summer romance ended as your independent clause. You squared when he ghosted me to go cave diving as your dependent clause. And circled when as your subordinating conjunction. Woo! You got it right. That's a complex sentence. Example. Brenda is going to get a reality check if she continues to gossip by the water cooler. No, you didn't, Brenda. 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 And now I shall give you my wizard excuse. And the answer. If you went ahead and underlined, Brenda is going to get a reality check, that's absolutely correct. That's our independent clause. Then, if you put a square around, if she continues the gossip by the water cooler as your dependent clause, boop, nice job. And then, if you put a circle around, ooh, yeah, if, great job. You did it! It's magic! Yeah! Whoa! That's a complex sentence. And now to the next example. Since you went ahead and crushed that, I think it's time that I checked you in the aisle. That's right. Let's do an aisle check.
Let's go!
For this section, what I want you to do is write your own original complex sentence that begins with an independent clause. It could be about anything. Just make sure that it's in the correct order, independent clause followed by dependent clause, and it has all the elements of a complex sentence. And while you're doing that, let's go ahead and start checking out.
Can't get enough general grammar? Make sure to sign up on www.mrgoodiegrammar.com to become a grammar goodie. There, you'll receive extended episodes, guided notes, worksheets, PowerPoints, quizzes, and so much more. Also, follow us doing Wednesday live streams on Facebook, random dances on TikTok, and handing out grammar challenges on Instagram. With all these resources, you can't help but have the best time learning about English grammar. Whoa!
What'd you come up with? I bet something wacky. Whoa! Let me go ahead and give you my answer. Humans shall cease to be the pinnacle of evolution once neuro-superior dolphins take control of the troposphere. In this example, my independent clause is, humans shall cease to be the pinnacle of evolution. And my dependent clause is, once neuro-superior dolphins take control of the troposphere. Please don't. And I have the subordinating conjunction once to start my dependent clause. So this is a complex sentence. And if you crushed it, make sure to post that sentence into the comments section below. If it makes us and it's grammatically accurate, we'll go ahead and give you a shout out in an upcoming episode. And if you struggled with this concept, don't worry about it. Remember, learning new concepts takes time and practice. And we're here to help you every step of the way. Well, grammar goodies, I'm off to make grammar even more magical. Watch out, Harry Potter. My name is Mr. Goodie Grammar. Thanks so much for dropping by General Grammar. And comma in anytime. I'll see ya.